Good morning, everybody. And thanks for getting here bright and early to spend a day talking about what we can do, not just is there, but what we can do to hopefully avert this crisis in engineers that we desperately need. Obviously, the most important thing I need to start by saying is that we're meeting on Gadigal land today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and I thank them for their custodianship of this land. ATSE, of course, has people and places, people and staff across the whole of Australia, and I acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait people, their custodianship of their lands and waters, and thank them for that. So ATSE, 90% of you know who we are, but just briefly, for those who maybe come from the Engineers Australia side and don't know us that well, the Australian Academy of Technological Sciences and Engineering, after 9 months as president, I still can't get my tongue around that, isn't that embarrassing? ATSE is the learned academy of independent, non-political experts supporting Australians to understand and use technology to solve complex problems. We bring together Australia's leading thinkers in applied science, technology and engineering, providing impartial, practical and, importantly, evidence-based advice on how to achieve sustainable solutions and advance prosperity. We're committed to educating and exciting young people to go into STEM and those who are in STEM. We enhance research collaboration, translation and commercialisation. We're committed to climate change mitigation and adaptation and to helping Australia and Australians get technology ready. As we're all aware, Australia is facing a national skills crisis. Our nation currently lacks the capacity and critical capabilities to meet an uncertain future. The impacts of the pandemic on border closures and impacts on skilled migration, coupled with rapid advances in business digitisation and transformation, have exposed the fact that Australia's workforce needs to be more resilient and more responsive. This will be essential if we are to ensure that we have enough science, technology, engineering and medicine and mathematics workers in the roles where they're needed most, and to prevent us from becoming a global digital and technology laggard. In a report that ATSE launched last year, our STEM Skilled Future, whose leading light we have on the next panel, Mark Hoffman, the fellows at the Academy identified 5 key areas that require immediate attention if we are to unlock the country's technological potential. These are in the areas of mathematics, digital skills, agricultural technologies, entrepreneurship, and, crucially, engineering. We called for the establishment of a national skills taxonomy to streamline consistent communication about needs and pathways amongst Australians, organisations and individuals to enable greater labour mobility and skills transfer. Prioritisation of and investment into evidence-based approaches to STEM program development and assessment to ensure education and training is fit for purpose and provides value for money. We called to promote and support a culture of lifelong STEM learning in the workforce to ensure Australia has the skills it needs now and into the future, and to raise the profile of STEM careers in Australia to showcase their accessibility and attractiveness. And to my mind also that STEM is much more than the individual silos that we kind of put them in. I come from a background as a chemist. I've not been a chemist since about 3 years after I finished my PhD. There are so many other areas we need STEM skilled people in, on business boards, in government, and we have a dearth of them there as well. Engineers are essential to building and maintaining Australia's critical infrastructure and ensuring that Australia has the physical assets it requires: bridges, schools, transport, high-rise buildings, as well as designing the systems and software we need to power a modern, efficient and sustainable society. However, as I'm pretty sure everyone in this room knows, we're in the middle of an engineering education crisis. Infrastructure Australia has estimated the need for 41,000 more engineering professionals by 2025. The Australian Space Agency is aiming to build an industry with 20,000 additional jobs by 2030, with many, if not the majority, in engineering disciplines. other initiatives with manufacturing emphasis or for decarbonisation, electrification of the economy also demand new engineering capabilities. Australia's engineering supply comes from two sources: skilled migrants who've completed engineering qualifications abroad and the graduates of Australian universities. Each year from 2010 to 2019, the higher education system produced approximately 7,500 domestic and 6,500 international graduates from programs accredited by Engineers Australia at the professional engineering level. But there is a trend of declining commencing student numbers in engineering and related technology degrees. As entry to higher education is driven from demand by qualified and motivated students, it's clear that the number of students seeking to study engineering is below the tertiary education sector's capacity, and that's a major threat to our future productivity and prosperity, and it'll hobble us and our potential to be a leader in the green and digital revolutions. There's a need to encourage and inspire more school leavers into engineering to bolster Australia's graduate levels, as well as to facilitate mechanisms for engineering students to gain meaningful industrial experience. The commencing national participation rates for female engineering students have shown very slow growth, up from 14% to 20% across 10 years, despite many outreach programs and initiatives. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander student participation in engineering has doubled, but off such a low base. It is indeed, though, supported by outreach initiatives by engineering faculties, employers, and the profession. Diversity and inclusion across the entire workforce needs to be viewed as a critical lever to move the needle on shortages of engineers, while at the same time the myriad sector and systemic issues that have contributed to and continue to drive our skills shortages in this domain need strong interventions and leadership. Australia needs to design its STEM ecosystem in a manner that ensures we're accounting for the STEM skills we need both now and, even more importantly, into the future. This is key to understanding and managing the factors that will either set us up for success or see us faltering on our potential to fully utilise the technologies we are discovering, developing, and implementing. Our country isn't alone in facing STEM workforce shortages. We need swift and decisive action if we're to attract and retain the talented workforce Australia needs to be a strategic and competitive global player, or we'll risk losing our workers and technological discoveries to international counterparts. We need to act, and we need to act now. So today we're lucky to have a fantastic range of speakers to discuss this thorny issue and hopefully to start thinking about solutions.